Hey, how's everybody doing today? I'd like to welcome you to this new episode of Coffee Talk with Brohawk. And today's guest is somebody I've known for a long, long time, my good friend Kelli Edmonds. And Kelli, you and I have known each other for like I said, a minute or two. Tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, what you're up to these days.
Yeah, so first, Mark, just want to say thank you for allowing me this opportunity to sit and have this conversation with you this morning. Really appreciate it. As you mentioned, we have known each other for a minute, and not to date either of us, but I've been in this industry for over 35 years. Started out as an intern at Sally Mae back in the day, and then really just kind of progressed through it, some leadership positions at a number of the larger institutions in the industry. GE Capital, Citi, Chase. I just recently left Santander Consumer and started my own company. So that's just kind of little quick background and where I'm at now.
Well, so your company is Kota Business Solutions, correct?
It is.
And so what prompted you to say, all right, I've worked for all these companies, they're great experiences, but I think I want to go out on my own.
Yeah, so I have really enjoyed the whole process improvement aspect in my career. That's probably been what I've enjoyed the most, as well as all of the relationships that I was able to build with my coworkers, as well as some of my vendor partners that I did business with. And I wanted the opportunity to be able to take the knowledge and experience that I gained over the years and be able to help more than just one company. It's really kind of my favorite thing has been able to help people succeed. And so I felt what, better way to do that than to be able to start my own company and then be able to go in and interact with, multiple companies and help, them with process improvement and how to, kind of generate more revenue.
Excellent. Kind of, as you were talking about, helping companies with their process improvement. That's where, I mean, over my career, and I'm sure with you as well, that's where a lot of companies get stuck. They have a vision for what it is that they want, but they don't have a roadmap as far as how to get there. Is that what your experience has been?
Yeah, it really has been. And I think the other thing, Mark, to take into consideration is I think sometimes people know where they want to go, but as you're very familiar with the fact that there are so many IT resource constraints. I think sometimes, while I was working at the, big banks, people would say, how is it that, you don't have the, a large amount of IT resources available? But it's a common theme across the industry. That and really just trying to figure out how to budget the technology that you want to use into the companies. So I think those two things are probably, kind of the most common answers that people receive when they're, wanting to introduce a product or do business with someone. It's just those kind of two constraints. So you may know where you want to go, but you just don't have. I'll kind of say the ability due to those potential roadblocks.
And a lot of suppliers for the industry think, oh, big bank, deep pockets. And that's not always the case. And I think that while there are a lot of great solutions out there, if it's not the right solution at the right time for the company, I think that's where a lot of companies get sideways also.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Timing is everything.
Yeah.
So, I would say for anyone who's, on the business development side of things, who's, listening to our conversation today, there may not be an opportunity today. There may be an opportunity 2-3 years down the road. And I think also as people are, really putting together, budgets or, thinking about their own internal IT resources and how are they going to support if they have a number of people coming forward at once saying, oh, I want to use your product. It's really just kind of all about, being able to your point, put together that roadmap and say, I know that this client, may be onboarded in 2-3 years and make sure that you have those kind of in your, I'll call it bullpen. And for them to be kind of mapping out strategically, how are they going to handle the clients that they're looking to do business with, and then just having the patience to know that, that they may not be ready to do it today, but it may be in an IT book of work, that they could put in for 2 or 3 years, and just be prepared to stick with someone through the long
Yes.
haul of that process.
It's and one of the things that I think you and I have both seen in the industry, and you alluded to it at the beginning of our conversation, relationships. It's all about the relationships, and being positive with being authentic with your networking. And not as transactional.
Most
Um,
definitely.
you know. Um, so I know you've worked with a lot of great outsource partners over your career.
Yep.
And we've had some sidebar discussions about this region or that region, or this company or that company. And what are the top three things that companies should be focused on today when selecting that potential outsource partner? I know this is kind of one of your fields of expertise, so I'm really interested to get your perspective on this.
Yeah, so Mark, I think it's the first thing may sound very obvious to do,
Mhm.
and that's find an outsource provider with experience.
Mm,
And so I think most people are probably saying, well, if they're coming to me, don't they have the experience that I need? But
yeah.
throughout the course of my career, I have found, I've done credit card, auto, mortgage, student loans. I have found that, let's take collection agencies, for instance.
Mhm.
Not all collection agencies are good at collecting on auto, or maybe not all collection agencies are good at collecting on credit card.
Mhm.
You really have to be able to get an understanding, not just from the potential vendors' current clients, but you need to go out and talk to some of their past clients. You need to go out and look in the network and really get an understanding of what is their reputation, how successful were they, if they weren't successful on that portfolio, maybe what were the reasons why they weren't.
Mhm.
I've had someone in my past history where we were doing a champion challenger that came forward and said, we really feel like we're, kind of struggling on this. We have two other providers that we feel would be a better opportunity for us at this time. And
Mhm.
they decided to remove themselves from, the champion challenger. And, I really admire somebody who can do that, who can come forward and say, we don't feel like this is the right time for us. Would you
Mhm.
consider us again in the future? And I've done that. I've, allowed them to, stop working the inventory. And then when there was another opportunity in the future, when the timing was right for both of us, brought
Yeah.
them back on board again. Um, I'd also say it's very important to make sure that your company and their company, that those values are aligned,
Mhm.
that there's a real understanding of the metrics and the goals, and employee engagement and retention. That vendor becomes an extension of your company, and you want to
Yes.
make sure that they're invested in your growth, and that everybody has an understanding of what those goals and objectives are. And
Mhm.
then lastly, I'd say looking at technology and information security. We've seen a lot of news lately about breaches that have been happening. I've seen a lot of it on the cryptocurrency side lately. And so I think it's very important that you also have an understanding when looking at your partners of what is their technology, are they keeping up with the way things are in the industry today, and reviewing their security certifications. Don't just say it's okay that somebody has, say, a SOC 2. Make sure you have an understanding of that report, and if there were any findings on it, how did they remediate it, or have they remediated it?
Mhm.
So that you make sure you don't get yourself in a situation where you're creating a lot of frustration because they don't have the proper protocols in place. So I'd say that's probably like my top three things that I would give as advice.
Yeah, and just to kind of put a bow on that question. Really, don't take everything at face value. you
Yes.
know do your homework. It's like any relationship, you're going to want to find out how these people interacted with others previous to you, um and how they were when things were rough. um
Yes.
and I love your example of um the customer that, or the outsource provider that you had, the agency that you worked with, that took themselves out of a champion
Hmm.
challenger. I think that speaks volumes, for an organization to recognize, hey, whatever we're doing is not working for you, and we value your relationship, our relationship with you, more so than, getting a few extra shekels or something coming in, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. And I really label that, Mark, as a true partnership.
Yep.
To have somebody who can come forward and be able to say, look,
Hmm.
this isn't the right opportunity for us.
Yep.
And, I really, truly appreciated that, because I want them to be able to do what's right for their company. And it also wasn't going to benefit the organization that I was working for by
Yep.
having someone who may not be able to give 100%. At that particular time. So, I would highly recommend that people foster those types of relationships with their vendors, to really be able to have those open and honest conversations about what's going on in their organization, so that you can not only be helping them, but you understand that they're really trying to help you as well.
Awesome. Awesome. So, you've had an interesting last couple of years. You've gotten some good recognition, and like in 2020, I saw that you were recognized with a Women in Auto Finance recognition by Auto Finance Journal. What did becoming an honoree through them mean and signify to you?
Yeah, so first, and I'll say most embarrassingly enough, Mark, I originally thought, is this a joke? When I got the email saying, we want you to contact us because, you've been recognized as an honoree. And I'm like, is this spam? Where did this
Yeah.
come from? Because I've never been one to do the things that I have in the industry for the recognition.
Mm.
I truly, I think you'll see is, through this conversation that we're having, it's always been about the partnership. It's always been about trying to help others succeed. And again,
Yep.
whether it's, for the vendor or whether it's for the organization that I'm working for. And
Mhm.
so I was very, very honored and very humbled to find out that, I was one of the women in the industry to be recognized. Like I said, it's not really something that I was out trying to accomplish.
Uh-huh.
And so it's just like I said, very, very humbling to have a group in the industry recognize the work that I've been doing. And so I'm very appreciative of that award.
They say that the best leaders aren't the ones that promote themselves, but those that are lifted up by their peers. Um, and I definitely see the honor, the recognition that you receive really being a testament to that. Because again, we've known each other for a number of years.
Yeah.
You've always been one that has kind of shied away from the individual recognition, and been more focused on getting the results, getting the job done, and making sure that everybody wins. So it's time. It was great to see you, receive recognition for your accomplishments in the industry over your career. So
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. I would say you're only as successful as the people that you surround yourself with and the
yep.
support that you provide them. And one of my, if you ask me, kind of my greatest accomplishment in this industry, or what
Mhm.
makes me, appreciate this the most, it's the people that I've worked with, and watching them succeed and excel and move on, and be able to grow in their careers, and really, whether it's personally or professionally,
Yep.
just seeing someone be successful. That's, I think, what matters, most to me.
And the recognition that this is such a small industry. You know, everybody knows
Yes,
everybody.
that is very true.
Whether you're on the collection side, or whether you're on the outsourcer side, or customer service, customer care, it's a very small industry.
Yes, most
Um,
definitely.
and so, speaking specifically of collections, I mean, we both got our start at Sally Mae, many, many moons ago. Um, and um, you were a big help for me when I came into the organization. At that time, you had a couple year head start, on your career. Um, but what would you say is different in the industry from today, looking back 20 plus years, or 10 years or even 5 years ago, I mean,
Sure.
the collection side of the house has just changed dramatically.
Yeah, so I would say first, Mark, we're not working off green bar paper anymore.
Yes, exactly.
And we lost the ability to run a credit bureau report and call
Uh-huh.
a creditor and ask for mutual customer information. So,
Yes.
I say that kind of, yeah.
Dot matrix is not a printer, it's a
Yeah.
character in Spaceballs, you know?
So I kind of say that jokingly, but for the younger folks in the industry who don't know what that is, I had made mention the other day. It's kind of before stone tablets or after stone tablets and before the iPhone.
Yes.
So it further dates myself.
Oh,
But all seriousness, Mark, I think really just the technology has changed,
mhm.
and the way we're communicating with customers. It was always by phone. And, I think, we can both agree that, you don't want to pick up a phone to have a conversation with somebody anymore. You just want to be able to go onto a computer. You want to be able to get the answers that you want. You want to be able to communicate, via chat. I don't even really
Right.
like having somebody say, send us an email. I just want to be able to quickly kind of get my answer. So I would say it's really kind of the biggest difference is if you just look at where we were from a technology perspective. And it's not just because of what's happened from a regulatory perspective that we had to do that. It's because, customer sentiment says, these are the things that we would like to do. These are how we would like for you to be communicating with us. And I think the most successful companies that are out there are the ones who've been able to keep up with that technology. I know a lot of people utilize the Blockbuster example. We all went to Blockbuster when we were younger, and then it became Redbox, and now you have everything on Netflix, and now
Mhm.
Netflix is struggling and losing
Yeah.
1 million customers a month. And so if you don't stay current with your technology and understanding of what consumers want, or even be thinking ahead to what consumers may want in the future. I think that's where things have really changed,
Yeah.
and what the industry needs to make sure how they kind of keep their finger on the pulse of the changes that are coming.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a mutual friend of ours earlier this week, and one of the things that we talked about was, um, today's technology is already antiquated. Um, if as an organization, as an industry, you're not looking to 20 years down the road, you're already behind the times, or even at least 5 years down the road. Um, you're really behind the times. Um, and I think from a operational standpoint with collections as a whole, you had to recognize that people want you to be more human with them, not just beat them down.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
you know, so that's awesome. It's awesome. Well, hey, we've gotten to the point of our conversation where we're going to go into the speed round, Kelly.
Okay.
So are you ready for this?
I think so.
Excellent, excellent. So what fact about Kelly would people be most surprised to learn about you?
I think people would probably be most surprised to know I'm a country girl at heart.
Hmm.
I absolutely love being out in the country. Nothing better than sitting on the back of a tailgate, listening to some music and having an adult beverage.
Yes. Unspecified adult beverage at that.
Yes.
Excellent. So what would be your ideal off the grid location? Would I assume on the back of a pickup in the middle of a field?
So yeah, I would maybe be even a little more specific to say somewhere in the country where there's a lake.
Yes.
Recently went back home and spent some
Mhm.
time in the boat out on the lake, which is
Excellent.
always nice. And I would say if that wasn't where I kind of went off the grid, then probably some private island where I could just spend my days kick back on the beach with
Yes.
my adult beverage.
Yep. And no cell phone.
That is correct.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Well, Kelly, I really appreciate your time today. If someone wants to pick your brain on any of the things that we talked about, or want to talk to you a little bit about more about the work that uh, you as Kota Business Solutions, your consultancy, How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, I would say probably the best way, Mark, is through LinkedIn. Just drop
Okay.
me a message on LinkedIn. I try to make sure that I spend time on LinkedIn every day. So that's probably the best way to try to reach me. Or, you have my contact information for those in your network. If they, want to reach out to you to track me down, then that works as well.
We know how to find each other.
Yes, yes, we do.
Excellent. Well, Kelly, thank you very much for your time. Great conversation today. And once again, if you take a look at Kelly, it's Kelli Edmonds on LinkedIn. She'll definitely connect with you and would definitely enjoy a conversation with you. And Kelly, I've really thoroughly enjoyed our conversation today. Thank you very much. And we'll be talking again soon.
All right. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it.
Bye.